Yeah, you could, and you want to do like a big son is a senior. I think it is. And I think that's my senior. That's what it is. They used to go through high school. So I believe. Barely. Right.
Okay. We'll call this meeting of the mayor and council to order. As a courtesy to everyone, please take a moment and silence any devices that may interrupt the meeting. Do that myself. Good evening and welcome to this meeting of the Mayor and Common Council of Westminster, incorporated on February 5th, 1819. We're gathered here at historic City Hall, originally an estate built in 1842 by Colonel John K. Longwell. The city acquired this building in 1939, and it has since been the venue where the mayor and council conducts the city's business. Now we'll begin, as we do every meeting, with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. Flags in the back of the room. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. One interesting fact about Westminster is Carroll County sat on a crossroads during an era of slavery, bordered by a free state to the north and deeply tied to Maryland's divided loyalists. While firm documentary evidence of organized underground railroad stations here are elusive, as was by design, the entire network operated in secrecy. The historical record suggests that freedom seekers passed through this county on their way north and that some residents quietly aided them. The Historic Society of Carroll County has noted the presence of abolitionist Quakers in Union Bridge as evidence of some local residents may have sheltered freedom seekers. A striking episode was recorded in 1859 in the Carroll County newspaper. A man named William Boyd was arrested near New Windsor while transporting an enslaved husband hidden in a secret compartment behind a black curtain in his wagon. Boyd had been passing through the area multiple times before, and witnesses noted he deliberately traveled through rough terrain rather than main roads to avoid detection. He was charged with abduction of enslaved people and was taken to trial in Washington, D.C. That single incident hints at a broader hidden history. Maryland as a whole was the most active state for self-emancipation, and Carroll County, positioned just miles from the Pennsylvania border, was almost certainly part of that story, even though the full truth remains buried in careful silences of those who risk their lives to keep it secret. Moving on. Council typically convenes on the second and fourth Monday each month. Please note that these meetings are open to the public here at City Hall and are also streamed live on the city's YouTube page, as well as the Community Media Center channel and website. We extend our gratitude to the Media Center for their partnership in ensuring public access to these meetings. Copies of tonight's agenda and the entire information packet that the council will be using are available online at the city's website. Hard copies of the agenda are available here in the front of the room for those in attendance. Our first order of business this evening is a note about a mayoral proclamation honoring 50 years of Genova's to Go and 20 years serving in the Westminster community. The mayor and I, and possibly some other council members, will be attending their celebration on Sunday and will actually read the full proclamation at that time. We will not be reading it this evening. Next up, as it has been the tradition for a number of years now under the leadership of President Jaskin, McDaniel has sent a representative to our council meetings during the year to foster a close and meaningful relationship with the city. This evening, we welcome David Sears, the Vice President of Institutional Advancement from McDaniel. Mr. Sears.
How are you?
It is institutional advancement, right?
It is correct, yes.
Make sure.
I can give you the top 9 things that have been happening at the college. So first of all, great news, the college received an upgrade for its S&P bond rating. That means that the S&P bond raters believe that McDaniel is strong financially, has been using its resources well. Our enrollment has been steady and our philanthropy has been phenomenal. So we are very pleased to note that only Loyola and Johns Hopkins universities in Maryland have a better rating than McDaniel. That's for 12.
Slightly more notorious and bigger institutions.
Just slightly. Enrollment is at 500 undergraduate and transfer students, new students for this year. Today was the first day of classes, so you may see an increase in students in the downtown area now. Our nursing program is now at Carroll Hospital on September 17th. We'll have an event recognizing the Collett Foundation for their philanthropy to make that nursing center possible. We have a new provost, Caroline Sherman. She has degrees from Harvard and Princeton, and she came to us from academic leadership at Catholic University of America. We also have a new dean. This dean will be creating our new School of Business and Technology. It'll be the first school that McDaniel has ever had. His name is Dr. Leonard Arby, and he was the chair of finance at Salisbury University, so a great get for McDaniel. Note that the college is partnered with Frederick County Public Schools on a grant to provide debt-free certifications for special ed teachers, which are desperately needed. We have a new men's basketball coach. Sadly, Kevin Curley had passed away in the spring, and his successor is TJ Jordan, who was the basketball coach at Notre Dame of Maryland University. And finally, since I'm the head of advancement, I'll have to let you know how our philanthropy is going. Our campaign is now exceeding $54.7 million, 2 years ahead of schedule, and exceeding our $50 million goal. Our focus now is funding the School of Business and Technology, residence hall renovations, scholarships, and experiential learning for our students. Thank you.
You get a little job security. That's nice.
So far, so good.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anyone have any questions for the college? Now we'll consider the approval of previous meeting minutes. We have one set of meeting minutes to approve this evening. Minutes from the mayor and council meeting of August 10th, 2026. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Dayhoff. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Bayer. Is there any discussion related to the approval of these minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the minutes are approved. We have 5 items on the consent calendar this evening. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Bayer. Thank you very much for that second, Mr. Pecoraro. All those in favor of approval of the consent calendar, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the consent calendar is approved. Now we'll move on to a report from the mayor. Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. I just have a few things, excuse me, to comment on. On Friday, August 14th, along with several members of the council, I attended the movie Fresh, which was at the Carroll Arts Center as a fundraiser for Carroll County Food Sundays Veggie Voucher Program. The movie was about where our food comes from, where it's sourced from, and it was followed by a panel discussion who discussed and answered several questions from the audience concerning where our food that we eat comes from. On Sunday, August 16th, Billy Live and Find Your Purpose held their annual back to school drive. This is a little bit more than a back to school drive. Again, Carroll County Food Sunday is represented there. They provide haircuts for the school students who come. The weather moved the event inside the Boys and Girls Club. Normally this is held in the city park. It was a little bit more crowded in the Boys and Girls Club. I think Councilmember Dayhoff can also attest to that. The line stretched around the corner down onto Longwell, but it was a really great event, as that always is. On Tuesday, August 18th, the city hosted the Estonian violin group, Magic Springs, prior to their concert at the Arts Center later that evening. If you were able to attend the concert, you were treated to an absolutely amazing evening of traditional Estonian music, classical music, jazz. That was one of my favorite pieces of the evening, and pop music. And then Saturday, we welcomed about 500 first-year students to Westminster in the Westminster Welcome. This event is popular with our downtown merchants. Students arrived to the library lawn around 10 a.m. I think most of us met on the council, met the students along with President Jaskin at Genie Birds on that block. And so we got to the library lawn around 10 a.m. There were a few comments. And students were still on Main Street by 12:30 when I left. I think one of the things with this event that has been popular is that the city provides every student with a $10 voucher in their swag bag that they get that day. And so they can use them for lunch. In fact, they're encouraged to have lunch in town that day. They can use them in any of the retail shops on Main Street. And I know the farmer's market was packed because they also take them at the farmer's market. This event has just grown in popularity each year, and conversations with the downtown merchants on Saturday just continually proves that. Thank you. We also held, thank Councilmember Dayhall for this. I also hosted a Wakefield Valley Trail preview at the Wakefield Valley Event Center. This event went over the plans for the trails that are being renovated this year. It's about a 15 to 18-month project, and hopefully will begin shortly in the fall. And then finally, yesterday, I attended my favorite event of the late summer, which is the Westminster Municipal Band Concert in Belgrove Square. There was a great crowd for it. The weather was perfect, and the band, as always, is just phenomenal. And they're doing a documentary on the Westminster Municipal Band, a couple who retired from Maryland Public Television through the Carroll Media Center. So be on the lookout to see them at the future events. That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I appreciate that. Of course, we're just going to continue right on with you because now we're moving on to committee reports, and yours is the first one for the Arts Council.
I have no report from the Arts Council.
Thank you very much. Mr. Huff is not present from Economic and Community Development. Mr. Pecoraro, do we have anything in his absence? I don't.
That's we had a good meeting the other day, good conversation about future planning opportunities. Those conversations.
Great, thank you, sir. Finance Committee, Mr. Pecoraro.
The Finance Committee has not met since the last meeting.
Thank you very much. Personnel.
Neither is personnel.
Busy to see. Public safety, I do have a report. Over the past 2 weeks, our newest K9 team, PFC Brandon O'Neill and K9 Odin, have assisted with 9 investigations, including 8 vehicle scans and an assist to the Hampstead Police Department. These operations resulted in the recovery of illegal narcotics and several arrests. Odin is already demonstrating his value not only as an asset to the Westminster Police Department, but as a regional resource supporting our law enforcement partners throughout Carroll County. Also, this past week, our Criminal Investigation Bureau has identified a suspect responsible for multiple check fraud cases involving 2 victims in the city. The suspect attempted to defraud the victims of a combined $19,000 through a check washing scheme. Although the subject is a Florida resident, our detectives were able to identify the individual through solid traditional investigative work. Criminal charges are pending and the investigation remains ongoing. So we're very proud of them. That's often those types of crimes go almost unattended to, or certainly not closed. And it sounds like they did some wonderful work there. Now we'll move on to Public Works. Mr. Bayer.
I don't have nothing to report, but we have a meeting later this month,
Thank you very much.
or in September, excuse me.
Thank you, sir. Recreation and Parks, I do not have a report this evening. Technology Committee, Mr. Dayhoff.
No report, sir.
Thank you. And Intergovernmental, Mr. Huff, again, not able to be with us this evening. By the way, he's feeling a little under the weather. Nothing too bad. Mr. Pepper, do you have anything for Intergovernmental?
No, sorry.
Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to council comments and discussion. Mr. Pereira.
I have nothing this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Dayhoff.
I visited the mural project the other day at Departmental a lot, and it's coming along, and we're really excited about it. As a matter of fact, Mr. Barron had been brainstorming about possible locations for some additional murals. Perhaps he could fill us in at a later point in time as our discussions continue. That'll be all my report, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Baird.
Just a couple of things. I wanted to follow up. The mayor talked about magic strings and she forgot ABBA and Elvis.
I did forget Alva, you're right.
But they did like a medley of songs and of course they were very good. And they were only in town about 24 hours, but they had dinner with the mayor and council. They did 2 concerts, both at the Carroll Theater as well as Carroll Lives in Village. And they loved it just as much as the mayor did when she went to the concert. The one thing that the mayor didn't touch on, and I'll just say something here, that the kindness stroll kicked off the other day. And the mayor made remarks, I made some remarks there, and I think they have 40 to 50 different locations in Westminster where people can look at the signs and kids have made and can vote on it. So you can go online and find that. I know the mayor's posted the map. And stroll the street and check it out. I did say something at the meeting, when I first got involved with Tina and Eric Miller, I thought Be Kind was just about a sign. And they invited me to a workshop that I ended up sponsoring. And I realized quickly that it was really much more than signs. But over time, Be Kind has become like an icon in the city. Just much like City Hall, Huffman's Ice Cream, the Clock Tower, McDaniel College. And wherever you go, you realize that. So the one thing I did challenge the group that a great mural would be a Be Kind mural in Westminster. I said, I don't know where, I don't know how it will get done, but I'll help be the first sponsor to make that happen. So I'm going with Eric this week to go look at the one they did in Union Bridge, just a brainstorm. So that's something that's kind of kicking around. At Saturday at the McDaniel event was the first time I attended as a council member. I had so much fun talking to the kids, walking around. You go to Town Bay Page, I could just see kids just going into the store constantly. So everybody was happy as far as the business community went. And then one final comment, because Tony was talking about the Underground Railroad. Of course, we know that the person that organized that was Harriet Tubman from Maryland. What a lot of people don't know about Harriet Tubman is that she also served during the Civil War down in the South, kind of like an MI capacity. She was never officially in the military, but she performed very important functions. And a couple of years ago, the legislature changed the law and allowed citizens to be able to be given a military rank, a Maryland military rank. So that law passed, and here within the last year or so, Harriet Tubman was made a honorary brigadier general in the Maryland National Guard to recognize the great service she did. So that's all I have to say. So,
Did she get that rank in intelligence?
no, it's just it wasn't not no branch.
Okay.
It was just of course to recognize everything she's done, but they couldn't have picked a better person to be the first one.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bowden. Thanks for that add-on to the history bit. I have no comment, so we'll move on to ordinances and resolutions. We have 2 this evening. Our first resolution this evening is Resolution 2614. Whitworth.
Good evening, Mr. President. The first ordinance for your consideration is the adoption of Resolution 26-14, a resolution of the Mayor and Common Council of Westminster honoring the life and legacy of Kenneth Allen Yohen, 84, May 3rd, 1942 to August 10th, 2026, who served as the Westminster Mayor from 1994 to 2001.
Thank you very much, Mr. Whitworth. Let's go ahead and get this on the floor, and then I know some of my colleagues who knew former Mayor Yellen. I did not. I'm sure we'll want to make some comments. So may I have a motion to approve this resolution? So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
And Mr. Pecoraro, thank you for your second. Now that it's on the floor, I want to go ahead and open it up and allow my colleagues to make some comments. So we'll start off, Mr. Pecoraro. I'm sure you want to go first. So
Thank you very much, Mr. President. First I want to say, it's wonderful to have, Mayor Yellen's grandson here with us this evening to hear this. I had the opportunity to serve on the council when Ken Yellen first became mayor. He council president, was elevated to being mayor on the election of mayor as then Mayor Brown as the county commissioner, and then proceeded to serve the remainder of that term as well as a full term after that. I took Ken's seat on the council, when he moved up, and it was a great honor to be able to serve on him. I think it's fair to say that if you look at Westminster before, Ken's years on the council, city government was very different. The voter pool, very small. There were like, I think about 300 people who were registered to vote in the city. You had to be, you had to show up on the second Tuesday of the month when the moon was full and hope that the city clerk was in his office to get registered to vote. And then the state passed a law changing it to, universal registration. If you were registered in state elections, you would be registered in city elections all over the state as well. And a real sea change happened in Westminster because of that. And a whole new group of people got elected to the council, Ken Yellen amongst them. And I think that really set the city on an entirely different path. The path I think we're still on today. Those council members who came on then, subsequent mayors and councils, have shared a vision of the city, as a progressive community that tries to meet people's needs and anticipate what's going on in society and generally improve the quality of life here in the city. And I think there's nobody that played a bigger role in making that happen than Ken Yellen during those years that he was there. So it's an honor to serve with him. He was a friend and a mentor as well as a colleague. And we are very sad to hear of his passing. Thank you very much for coming. I want you to know, and all your family to know how highly we thought. Thank you, Mr. President.
thank you, Mr. Pecoraro. Before we move on, can you introduce yourself? I'm sorry, you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm Mark Yellen, Ken's grandson.
Right. And
This is my wife, Sarah.
that's what I figured. You better introduce your wife. Yeah, right. Thank you for being here. So, Mr. Dayoff.
Well, Mr. Barrett, you go.
Okay,
That's what you.
that's fine with me. You're just more senior on council.
Okay.
That's why I call you that.
No, I'll yield my time.
Mr. Baird.
So my situation is a little bit different because I didn't serve with him. I actually worked for him.
It's true.
I served as the Planning and Public Works Director at the time. And I'm probably the only one that served with him as a council member, as a council president, and as mayor. And I'll say that, and this is really to follow up a little bit of what Greg said about vision. When he came back from Hawaii, he worked for Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab. And he came back and he immediately got involved again because he was a council member before he went to Hawaii. Then he had a break in service, he came back. And he was appointed to head a revitalization committee in Westminster. And sometimes you get on committees and there's some great report, nothing happens. Well, there are a couple things that to this day we talk about. And the first one was one of the recommendations was a Center for the Performing and Visual Arts. And what that led to was Cal Arts Center. And he was instrumental in that. The second one was looking at the future, the Route 27 corridor. That was identified as a very critical element, looking at it from this land going out. They maybe had a bigger vision, but nevertheless, even back then, people saw that was very critical. there was a lot of, for those who've been around, a lot of consternation about parking. We didn't have enough parking. We didn't have any decks. People were complaining all the time. So put in place this plan for parking. Now, you very seldom hear about parking, do you? It's just not an issue like it was. And finally, the wastewater treatment plant, the BNR project, which was a predecessor for the one that we're doing now. And I was telling his grandson his funny story. He lived at 496 Lakes Court, which is in Avondale Run. And a resident was complaining about the odor from the wastewater plant. And Ken says, I live closer than you, and I don't smell anything. And I'm there every day. And it was like, it was kind of really funny at the time. But he brought, like Councilman Pecoraro said, great harmony. There was a lot of things that happened in the late 80s that when Ken came on the council, he was a person that brought some harmony to the group, where people began working together and figuring things out in a proper way. And that was really, to work here, that was really important, believe me. Nothing worse than when you have everybody going in different directions, right, Sarah? So finally, his passing saddened me a lot when I heard it. I wish Joy, his wife, I had a chance to meet when I was, they were still here, and the family, all the best. They lost the same great man that we did as the city of Westminster, and our deepest sympathy to the Young family.
Thank you, Mr. David.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to echo the remarks about a sea change in Westminster government that Mr. Pecoraro delineated. But there was a great emphasis, and one of the things he was proudest was that the amount of civility that came back to the city government as a result of Ken Yolen's presence. Ken Yolen, as perhaps you know, was on a 24-hour clock, and I'm on a 24-hour clock also. So with problem solving, it was not unusual to get a phone call from Ken Yolen at 2 o'clock in the morning. I've got an idea. I know how we can solve this. And he was, perhaps as a result of his work with Sunpack, he was extremely critical of binary problem solving, binary thinking. He was always out of the box, and he would say, Dayhoff, I want you to come up with 5 solutions to this problem. And we would go back and forth till all hours of the night. Some of the other directors, we would get together over in his office. I just had the fondest memories of working with Ken Yolen. He must have had a genius level IQ. It was just and his critical thinking about Westminster government and changes that we needed to make. It was just an incredible experience, and a lot of the things that I learned from Ken Yolen, I still use those lessons. Thank you. Give our best to Joy, our best to your family. Thank you for coming. That'll be my remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, did you want to say anything?
I would just like to offer my condolences to the family. I personally did not know Mr. Yolen, but Mr. Mike Yolen, I just want to say thank you so much for reaching out to me to let me know of his passing, so I could pass that on to the rest of the council and we could adopt this resolution this evening in honor of him.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Like the mayor, I did not know him. Fortunately, it sounds like I missed a pretty good guy. I'm probably going to learn quite a bit from him. So I'm sorry for your loss as well. I'm glad we're able to honor him this evening. Sounds like he certainly deserves it. I don't know if you noticed that all the flags here in the city are flying at half-mast as we walk down this evening. My wife always walks me to the meeting. She said, why are the flags at half-mast? And I explained to her. Now I can even give her some more detail now that I know more about him. So thank you for being here this evening. Thanks for bringing it to our attention. With that, we'll go ahead and call the question. All those in favor of approval of resolution 2614, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it and the resolution's passed. Mr. Clerk, please note that I did vote on this item. Great idea. Two things. One, now that's passed. It's already been signed because we were pretty sure we were going to pass it anyway. We have a copy of the full resolution, which is quite lengthy. I'm not going to read it this evening, but I'm sure you can take it back and read it with your family. Would you like to say anything? Not that you have to, put you on the spot. Thank you.
Well, when my grandfather was mayor, I was a little kid, I think between the ages of 4 and 11. And as a kid, I just thought it was really cool. And I didn't quite understand it, but I was here a lot with him. I spent a lot of time with him.
You're in this building.
In this building, I'd go down the basement to the old jail cell. And, yes. And I know when they broke ground for the parking lot, I was parking garage, I was there for that. What I didn't know at the time is that he was making a better community for myself and my family. So, yeah, I have a lot of respect for him, what he did, and a lot of respect for this and what you all are doing right now. So.
You must have seemed larger than life as an 11-year-old. I can only imagine. You probably couldn't go anywhere without people commenting about you being his grandson, I'm sure.
Came in when went to Friendship Valley, he came in and spoke to the class and read a story when I was a little kid.
So I bet you were pretty proud.
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Did he still work with computers constantly? Mr. Moore would be fascinated to learn that we started the city's experience with email and the internet with a server downstairs. And he would call me up at 2 o'clock in the morning. You got to go over to City Hall and power cycle the server because the email was down. But we started it downstairs in the basement. At one point in time, we had it in the jail cell. And then we moved it over when it expanded. It was just wonderful to work with. He really was. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. We will now move on to our next item of business, introduction of ordinance number 2608. Mr. Whitworth.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. The next item is the introduction of ordinance number 2026-08, PI Planned Industrial Zone Uses and Development Regulations Text Amendment, an ordinance of the Mayor and Common Council of Westminster, amending Chapter 164, Zoning and Subdivisions of Land of the Code of the City of Westminster, Article 12, PI Planned Industrial Zone, Sections 164 to 68, Building Height. 164-70, off-street parking, and 164-75, procedures to modify permitted uses, building height regulations, off-street parking requirements, and retail and commercial development standards within the PI planned industrial zone. And Director of Community Planning and Development, Mr. Depot, will be speaking.
Thank you. As background, on July 28, 2025, the Mayor and Common Council approved Ordinance 2025-01, a text amendment primarily to add, delete, and modify automobile-related uses in several zoning districts, including the PI zone. During the public hearings for Ordinance 2501, the majority of the public comments and discussions were related to the process and the allowed retail and commercial uses in the PI zone. In response to the public comments on December 8, 2025, the Mayor and Common Council approved Ordinance 2025-09, a text amendment providing a more streamlined process and increasing the acreage limitation for local retail businesses and service shop uses in the PI zone. Ordinance 2026-08 being introduced tonight represents the third phase of PI zone amendments that collectively will expand the allowed uses, improve the development plan process, and modernize development standards within the PI zone. Generally, 2026-08 increases the allowed height in buildings and structures from 20 feet to 30 feet, including the maximum height of 4 stories for hotels.
expands allowable parking standards for new and amended development plans to be applied to subsequent site plans, add new and prohibit certain retail and commercial uses, allow daycares, schools, health clubs, gyms, and indoor recreation facilities not subject to the retail and commercial use calculations, and maintains a minimum of 55% of the gross development plan area for industrial uses. At this time, staff is recommending that ordinance 2026-08 be introduced for consideration by the mayor and common council and be referred to the Planning and Zoning Commission for its review and recommendation to the mayor and common council. And that completes my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Depot. Let's go ahead and get the item on the floor. May I have geez, I'm struggling this evening. I apologize. May I have a motion to introduce 2026-08, please?
So moved, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Pecoraro. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baird. Okay, it is on the floor. Any discussion related to the introduction of 2026-08? Hearing none, all those in favor of introduction of 2026-08, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, and it is introduced. We'll now move on to unfinished business. I have no items of unfinished business that I'm aware of. Is there any unfinished business that I'm not aware of? Hearing none, we'll move on to new business. I have no new business. Does anyone have any new business that I'm not aware of? Moving on, we'll move on to departmental reports. Ms. Imhoff asked me this evening to do a little bit of an abbreviated session. So it's only going to be a couple of the department heads that are actually going to give a report this evening. So Ms. Imhoff, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. I just want to take a moment to thank the family of Marion. When I was in College Park, College Park mayor said, once a mayor, always a mayor. So we're going to say, instead of former mayor, just mayor.
I like it.
It takes this job, both the elected officials and the staff, takes a lot of time to do the job, and it takes a lot of time to be away from your families. So I just want to take a moment to recognize that there's so many fingerprints that all of us, staff and council, have on micro decisions that are made in the city that are unnoticed by everyone except us sometimes. Sometimes that leads to the bigger things, as Councilmember Bayer mentioned, and sometimes it never really reveals itself, but it's a lot of hard work and a lot of time and effort. So I want to take a moment to thank the family for the time that you gave to the city back then during a council member time, a council president time, and a mayor's time, and wish you all the best during this time of grieving. Okay, so moving on to some less important things, but still important. September 7th is Labor Day. The city offices will be closed on Monday, September 7th. For that, we'll have a few department heads that are going to be out before and after that as well, trying to capitalize on that holiday. We only have 2 reports for you, as you mentioned, Mr. President. We're going to start with the Planning Department, Mr. Depot.
Thank you. On August 20th, the Planning and Zoning Commission was presented Site Development Plan S2520 to construct a 43,971 square foot public service building for the Carroll County Sheriff's Office headquarters, located at the intersection of Greenwood Avenue and Manchester Avenue. And this was simply for introduction and informal review. The annexation of the properties associated with S2520 must become effective before the site plan is brought before the commission for formal site plan review and action. Planning and Zoning Commission also held a public hearing on local map amendment LMA 2601 to superimpose the compatible neighborhood overlay zone over property zone RS 7500 residential zone to construct a mixed-use office building, a mixed-use building containing 122 bedroom market rate apartments and approximately 9,100 square feet of ground floor commercial space, known as Village Square at 102 Weimar Avenue. On September 1st, the Board of Zoning Appeals will review its written decision approving case 2603. It's an expansion of a private indoor recreation facility special exception use at 166 Airport Drive Boulevard for the Westminster Gymnastics and Cheerleading School. And that completes my report.
Are there any questions for the planning director? Hearing none, we will move on to the police department. Next.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to abbreviate it even more because I only have one thing to touch on, and that was the Westminster, or the McDaniel College Welcome Walk. I think the mayor did a great job of describing what a great event it was, but we were just happy to participate in it. So thank you.
We're very busy closing out at the end of the year. The end of the fiscal year ends at the wrap up is at the end of August. So don't think that just because we don't have a lot to prepare tonight, that we're not off doing many, many things. Mr. President, that concludes the departmental reports.
Thank you, Ms. Imhoff. Final item on our agenda this evening, citizen comments, during which we invite the public to address the mayor and council on any issues related to tonight's agenda or any other city matters. For those not attending this public meeting, we welcome your comments via email at comments@westminstermd.gov. All emailed comments will be shared with the mayor and council. Please include your address and phone number with your comments. We will now invite comments from those present this evening. This is an opportunity for the public to share their thoughts with the mayor and council. Our role at this point is to listen to your comments and respond appropriately after consulting with staff and each other. Is there anyone here this evening who wishes to be heard? Hearing none, that moves us to adjournment. That concludes the agenda and the meeting. Our next regular meeting will be Monday, September 14th, 2020.